For centuries, the Mayan calendar has baffled archaeologists, mystics, and skeptics alike. But what if it wasn't just a way to track time, but a cosmic code? The infamous 2012 prophecy was just the surface. Beneath it lies a system that may hold the secrets of past cataclysms and future revelations. And the deeper we dig, the more we find signs that the Maya knew something forbidden, something we were never meant to remember. In the heart of Mesoamerica, long before the rise of Europe's great empires, the Maya had already charted the stars with astonishing precision. Their calendar system wasn't just functional, it was philosophical, astronomical, and deeply spiritual. At the core was the long count calendar, capable of mapping thousands of years with eerie accuracy. But it was the end of one particular cycle, December the 21st, 2012, that ignited a global frenzy. While some saw it as an end times prophecy, others believed it marked a new beginning. Unlike the Gregorian calendar, the Mayan system was cyclical. Time didn't end, it reset, much like a cosmic odometer clicking over. This view redefined apocalypse not as destruction, but as transformation, a rebirth of consciousness. And what followed this shift has indeed been strange. Technological leaps, societal unrest, and climate anomalies. Coincidence, or fulfillment of a subtle prophecy? The Maya weren't guessing. Their calculations were rooted in celestial alignments, especially the movement of Venus, the Moon, and the galactic center. They saw time not as a line, but as a spiral, a repeating rhythm of creation and collapse. This idea alone challenges modern perceptions of progress. Could our own future be trapped in cycles we've forgotten how to read? Ancient inscriptions like those at Tortuguero mention a being returning at the end of the 13th Bactan. Some interpret this as a metaphor, others as a literal visitor. From where, though, and why return only at the end of a cosmic cycle? These riddles have made the Mayan calendar a magnet for both scholarly debate and esoteric obsession. Even NASA had to issue statements in 2012 to calm global fears. But the question remains, why did a civilization, long extinct, cause such panic with a calendar date? What power does this system still hold over the human psyche? And what if the real prophecy hasn't happened yet? We've been trained to see history as linear, yet civilizations like the Maya insisted otherwise. Could this be why their knowledge was erased? Because it threatened a narrative? Because it hinted at truths buried under layers of convenience, politics, and fear? The mystery of the Mayan calendar isn't about a date, it's about a design, a system that dares to suggest time is not what we think, and unlocking its meaning might mean reshaping everything we know about our past and our fate. The accuracy of the Mayan calendar rivals even today's astronomical models. They predicted solar eclipses, equinoxes, and planetary cycles with a margin of error modern scientists still find impressive. How could a pre-industrial society achieve such precision? Stone observatories like El Cracal and Chichen Itza suggest a deep integration of skywatching into daily life. But some theories propose something far more extraordinary. Could their knowledge have been handed down by a now lost civilization? Or even, as ancient astronaut theorists argue, from extraterrestrial visitors? The Maya revered beings like Kukulkan, the feathered serpent, often descending from the sky in their mythology. Was this mere symbolism, or a memory of something real, something witnessed? The calendar itself was tied to star systems, Sirius, Orion, Pleiades, that seem oddly significant in myths worldwide. Take the Dresden Codex, one of the few surviving Mayan books. It details Venus cycles with an accuracy that baffles astronomers. How could they observe a planet with such precision without telescopes? Was there an ancient method of magnification? Or were they simply observing something, or someone, from above guiding them? There's also the question of the 26,000-year precession cycle, the wobble of Earth's axis. The Mayans knew of it, but this cycle wasn't even documented in the West until centuries later. How did they track something that takes millennia to complete? This suggests they had access to ancient records, or memories, from even older epochs. Megalithic structures in South America also mirror astronomical patterns. Nazca lines, though not Mayan, align with solstices and stellar maps. Was there a shared knowledge across pre-Columbian cultures, or a global template from a forgotten source? The deeper the research, the harder it is to believe this was isolated brilliance. And what about the Maya's sudden decline? A civilization that thrived for centuries then vanished into the jungle. Did they foresee something? Were they trying to preserve their knowledge before a great reset, natural or orchestrated? Their temples and glyphs seem to whisper warnings we still haven't understood. The Mayan calendar's origin story remains obscured, not because it's unknowable, but perhaps because revealing it would change too much about our timeline, about our identity, and maybe, about our place in the stars. The date December the 21st, 2012 triggered worldwide anxiety, memes, books, documentaries, even doomsday bunkers. But the Maya never said the world would end. The media twisted a complex cosmic transition into an apocalyptic narrative. Why? Because fear sells. But beyond the hysteria, something real did shift, something subtle, yet global. Mayan inscriptions refer to this date as the completion of a Bactan, a 144,000-day cycle. It marked the end of the 13th Bactan, and the beginning of the 14th. In their cosmology, this meant the rebirth of time, not its destruction. It was a cosmic reset point, a recalibration. But Western minds, addicted to linear endings, translated it as doom. Interestingly, many spiritual leaders and researchers reported a noticeable global awakening around this period. More people began questioning systems, exploring consciousness, and diving into ancient knowledge. Coincidence? Or did the calendar truly signal a vibrational shift in collective awareness? Some indigenous elders, like the Karo in the Andes, supported this idea. They spoke of the Pashakati, a great turning of the world, not destruction, but inversion. Old systems collapsing, new paradigms rising, economic instability, political turmoil, climate disruption, all seen not as chaos, but purification. NASA dismissed the fears, claiming there was no evidence of planetary alignment or cataclysm, but documents surfaced discussing magnetic pole shifts and solar maximums. Were authorities calming panic, or hiding data? Because the Mayan calendar's timing coincided with strange solar activity, spikes in radiation, disruptions in satellite networks, and emotional volatility. The long count calendar also aligns with the galactic center, the dark rift in the Milky Way. On 21/12, Earth, the Sun, and this rift formed a rare alignment. To the Maya, this wasn't random, it was sacred. The Black Road, they called it a portal, a birthing canal for new consciousness. What entered, or exited, that portal remains a haunting question. Perhaps 2012 wasn't the end, but the activation of something still unfolding. And maybe the real prophecy wasn't a date but a doorway, one we walk through without even knowing. And now, something ancient has been set in motion. To the Maya, time wasn't just measured, it was alive. Every day held a unique energy, a purpose, a destiny. Their Tzolk'in calendar, with its 260-day cycle, wasn't random. It was based on the human gestation period, a symbolic echo of cosmic birth. This suggests they saw time not as numbers but as consciousness itself unfolding. Each Bactan in the long count carried a theme, a lesson. The 12th Bactan, for instance, correlated with global expansion, exploration, colonization, technological growth. The 13th, which ended in 2012, was linked to judgment, reflection, and potential transformation. So what comes next in the 14th? Is it innovation, collapse, or something we've never experienced? Patterns emerge when we compare previous Bactans to historical events. The fall of empires, the rise of religions, cataclysms. The calendar doesn't predict events by chance, it mirrors them through energetic cycles. This means history may not be random but a script, and we've just begun the next act. Some researchers believe the calendar encodes solar cycles, galactic alignments, and even potential pole shifts. It's not prophecy in a religious sense, it's data, cosmic patterns interpreted through myth and metaphor. And when these cycles sync, great changes ripple across Earth, just as they did with the Maya themselves. There are also chilling correlations. The 9th Bactan aligns with the collapse of the classic Maya civilization. The 11th matches the fall of Rome. These are not vague connections, they fall within a tight window. It's as if the calendar was warning of systemic resets. And now, many believe we're due for another. The Maya spoke of the Tree of Life, a cosmic axis connecting realms. Each cycle brings us closer, or farther from this axis. When we drift, chaos follows. But when we align, wisdom returns. Could our current disconnection from nature, spirit, and truth be part of this drift? And could the calendar be a map back to balance? Understanding these cycles isn't just curiosity, it's survival. Because if the Maya saw time as a wave, and we're approaching its peak again, then something big is coming. And the signs, environmental, societal, spiritual, are already shaking the surface. One of the most enigmatic sources tied to the calendar is Monument 6, found in Tortuguero, Mexico. It references the end of the 13th Bactan, and the descent of a god or entity, Bulan Yaktku. Scholars debate the translation, but the message is unsettling. A being returns at the turning of time, but who, or what, is this figure? Some say it's metaphorical, a symbol of divine change. Others suggest it could represent a celestial being, maybe even extraterrestrial. The monument is damaged, with crucial glyphs eroded or missing. Was it natural decay, or deliberate defacement? Because many ancient sites seem to share a pattern, key knowledge is always just barely out of reach. Throughout Central America, countless Mayan ruins remain unexcavated. Dense jungles hide entire cities. Why has modern archaeology been so slow to explore them? Is it funding or fear of what might be uncovered? Whispers persist about artifacts removed, texts hidden, and discoveries that never made headlines. In 2018, a massive LiDAR scan revealed over 60,000 hidden structures in Guatemala, pyramids, causeways, fortresses, proving the Maya were far more advanced than previously thought. What else is still buried? And why does it feel like someone doesn't want us to know? The surviving codices, like the Dresden, Madrid, and Paris codex, are filled with astronomical data, ritual texts, and timelines. But only 4 exist. The rest were destroyed by Spanish conquistadors and Catholic priests. Diego de Landa, in his own words, burned countless books. What secrets vanished in that fire? Why would colonizers go to such lengths to erase a calendar system if it was just primitive math? Could they have found in those glyphs a truth that challenged the church, science, or the very foundation of Western chronology? Every fragment we recover points to a larger picture, a map encoded in time, a timeline stretching beyond written history, and perhaps, hidden in those cycles, is a warning, one that was never meant to reach us, but somehow, it did. The Mayan calendar doesn't just track time, it remembers it. Some scholars believe it encodes past cataclysms, floods, volcanic eruptions, and even global resets. In their myths, we find echoes of a world before ours, one that was destroyed. Sound familiar? Many ancient cultures speak of previous ages, wiped clean by fire or water. The Popol Vuh, a sacred Mayan text, describes earlier creations, civilizations that failed due to disobedience or imbalance. One world was destroyed by a flood, another by fire. These aren't mere fables. They may be distorted memories of real global catastrophes, events so massive they were etched into time, not just myth. Scientists have confirmed that around 10,800 BCE, Earth experienced a sudden cooling event, the Younger Dryas. Some link it to a comet impact or solar event. Could the Maya have preserved a timeline of this disaster? If their calendar begins with a creation date of 3114 BCE, could it be the reboot after a previous collapse? The alignment of their long count start date with other ancient cultures is suspicious. The Sumerians, Egyptians, and Chinese all mark turning points in a similar era. Was there a shared knowledge, or a shared recovery, after something wiped the slate clean? Did the Maya inherit remnants of this forgotten knowledge? Even today, the idea of cyclical destruction is resurfacing. Scientists talk about solar flares, magnetic pole shifts, and climate extremes. The Maya saw time as a rhythm, and perhaps these destructions are not random, but beats in a larger pulse. Every cycle ends. But what happens when we reach the end of this one? The Temple of the Inscriptions in Palenque holds a tomb, that of King Pakal, but the imagery on his sarcophagus has sparked intense debate. Some say it shows him traveling through the underworld. Others believe it's a depiction of a spacecraft, fueling theories that the Maya remembered not just cataclysms, but contact. Whatever the truth, one thing is clear, the Maya were obsessed with endings and beginnings, and their calendar may not be forecasting a future disaster, but reminding us of one we've already forgotten, one that could return, unless we decode the signs in time. Beyond numbers and astronomy, the Mayan calendar hints at something far more elusive, the evolution of consciousness. Many believe the true prophecy wasn't about fire or flood, but awakening, a shift in perception, a decoding of inner time. If so, then the greatest transformation isn't global, it's internal. Maya shamans spoke of Naul, the spiritual essence behind all things. Each day had its own energy, influencing decisions, emotions, and fate. Could the calendar be a user's manual for the soul? A psychological map hidden in plain sight? And if so, who benefits from us forgetting how to read it? From 2012 onward, many report heightened intuition, vivid dreams, synchronicities, and the collapse of long-held beliefs. The veil is thinning, some say, others call it mass delusion. But either way, something is happening, and the calendar predicted a great unveiling asterisk. This unveiling may not be peaceful. The Maya warned of interference during these cycles, forces that feed on chaos, distraction, and fear. In their worldview, spiritual warfare was real. The mind was the battleground. And now, with constant media, algorithms, and noise, our awareness is under siege. Why has modern culture turned ancient wisdom into myth and mockery? Why is questioning time, cycles, and consciousness considered fringe? Because awakening threatens control, and control thrives in a world that forgets its power. The Mayan calendar, in this sense, may be revolutionary, a trigger. It's no accident that elite institutions own most surviving codices, that high-level research on Mayan astronomy rarely reaches the public. This isn't about archaeology anymore. It's about access to a system that could liberate or dismantle modern paradigms. The real countdown, then, isn't on a calendar, it's within us, a ticking toward remembrance, toward an ancient frequency rising again. And if we don't align with it, someone else will do it for us. The Mayan calendar was never just about tracking the days. It was a mirror held up to the cosmos and to ourselves. It mapped more than time. It mapped memory, prophecy, and perhaps destiny. The deeper we look, the clearer it becomes. They weren't primitive, they were precise, purposeful, and maybe even prophetic beyond our comprehension. From celestial alignments to spiritual codes, from cataclysmic warnings to evolutionary blueprints, the Maya embedded a multidimensional system into stone and codex. And then they vanished, or chose to disappear, leaving behind breadcrumbs for a future generation to follow. That generation may be us. Every civilization leaves a legacy, but the Maya left a mechanism, a time machine made of math, myth, and mystery. One that seems to activate only when we're ready, or desperate enough, to understand it. And now, in a world spiraling with uncertainty, the calendar begins to pulse again beneath our feet. It challenges the official story. It mocks linear history. It whispers of resets, of lost knowledge, of cycles within cycles. And the more we resist it, the louder its rhythm becomes. Not in fear, but in remembrance. Because somewhere inside, we know we've been here before. Could it be that the Maya didn't vanish, they ascended? Could they have reached a threshold we forgot how to cross? And if so, is the calendar not a warning, but an invitation, a call to realign with something we once were? In the end, perhaps the prophecy was never about destruction, but about decoding, peeling back layers of illusion to rediscover a forgotten truth, that time is sacred, consciousness is real, and the past still echoes in every breath we take. The calendar hasn't stopped, it's still ticking, not toward an end but toward a remembering. The only question is, will we be ready when the next cycle begins?